Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Ladies, gentlemen, friends, foes, lurkers, regulars, GMO people, organic people.
Boiler room. Inbound. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Boiler Room. Thank you for joining us tonight here for this live presentation out of Alternate Current Radio. We're in Central Texas. Beautiful, beautiful day in Central Texas. What a crazy week in the media. Yet again, we got to say this every week. I guess we do, because it's crazy every week. Well, here we are. I'm excited to introduce you to tonight's Boiler Room. Say what's up, everybody in the Discord chat. Captain Rumbucket, Awake Jake, Derpscan, Timmer, Brian. What's going on? Creative Accidents, what's up? Good to see everybody out there. Thank you for joining us once again, and welcome to the Boiler Room. We're live on YouTube, Spreaker, Rockfin, and AlternateCurrentRadio.com. And let me introduce you to the team tonight. Boom, there it is. Oh, we got a special guest. We're not going to tell you who it is. We'll save that one for last. Chopper, what's up, man? Welcome back to the show.
What up, dude? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us, man. Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
I did. It was cool. Yeah.
All right, right on. Right on.
Yeah. How
man.
about you? How was yours?
It was relaxing. It was pretty damn chill. It was just me and Spore and two small, happy, healthy dogs, and we chilled the F out.
Right on. That sounds cool. Hell yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's say hello to Mr. Corey Drayton, the Wandering Wolf, joining us once again. Corey, it's been a minute. Thanks for getting back with us tonight. It's great to see you. Great to have you back on the show.
Hey, Hesher. Hey, my friends, and hello to everyone out there. It's been a long time, and I'm so happy to be back. Really excited for tonight.
Yes, we are very pleased to have you back. Welcome back, man. Hope you had, I would say I hope you had a relaxing few weeks or a relaxing time off, but we've been in contact. I know you've been busy, man. I know you've been busy. So I appreciate you taking the time to join us tonight, man. It's great to see you again. Let's say hello to that masked man up there. Is that Ye? I'm not sure. It's hard to recognize Ye lately. Who is this?
Well, you all might remember me as Ruckus, but there's been some changes, and from now on, I will be going as Ruh.
All right, Ruh.
Just
all right.
are you? Ruh.
Okay. Is that a legal change? You change that legally, so we have to like write checks to you and with that name now too?
Nah, bro, don't be playing me like that, homie. Come on.
All right. No disrespect. Yeah. Don't walk off the set, man. No disrespect, Ruh.
It's Ruh.
Right.
See, I figure since Ye is out there doing his thing, and I mean, he was on Alex Jones's show earlier today, and I was thinking, man, after that video got like probably 100 million views by now, I was thinking, what can we do to spice things up around here? So I thought, I got it. We're gonna copy what the mainstream alternative clowns are doing, and I thought it's gonna get us like 100 million views, because we're all about this for the clicks, man. That's where it's at, right? The clicks. Isn't that what this is all about, man? I mean, and something about Jesus and Hitler and all that. Yeah. We got to throw that in there.
Yeah, religion. Something religion. Right.
No.
Yeah. Well, they say Ruckus. I mean, Ruh. I'm sorry, Ruh. Sorry, Ruh.
It's Ruh,
okay. Bruh, my bruh. They say you should dress for the job you want. And if you want to be a bazillionaire, you are pulling it off at this moment, my friend. Good job.
My brother from another mother. You get me. You feeling me. You understand where I'm coming from. And I'm bringing all of you along for the ride. See? Because you my peeps. See? You my peeps. I know that's going to upset some people out there. And some of you probably wonder why I'm wearing the mask. Well, no offense to present company, but I realized I've been coming on here doing this YouTube thing, and everybody gets to see my face, and I don't know what they're doing with it. So no one owns my face anymore, but Ruh. Only Ruh owns. I own my face now. You understand? Cool. As long as
All
we
right.
understand.
Okay.
No, but I'm just playing. But God bless everybody. Yeah, it's Ruckus, and I'm gonna have to take this monkey hood off because I'm dying here. But thanks for having me, guys. I hope everyone enjoyed that little riff on Kanye there.
Yeah, that was wonderful, man. If I had a plastic Alex Jones mask, I would have done my best Nick Fuentes impression, but I had to leave it to you. Thanks for sticking that one out, man. That was good. That was really good. I don't know how Ye does it, man. The I guess the Balenciaga pedo hood is must be much more breathable than whatever you're rocking there, because he did
Oh,
that for like a
that
couple
was
hours.
killing me. This is like a balaclava. What do they call them? A balaclava?
Balaclava, yeah.
Balaclava. Yeah. So I just had it flipped around, and I'm just like, yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. How the heck does he do this? But yeah, so that was fun. God bless him and all that. But I certainly will not be doing that for any amount of clicks. Thank you very much. So
Oh
I
my
hope that
gosh.
the listeners know we were just kidding there. So
Yeah, we're just joking around. We're just joshing over
having a
here.
good time here at the boiler room. So we do. Yep.
That's right. I mean, okay, well, let's shelf that one for a second here. What kind of weirdness can we get into on the interwebs here? Lovely Spore, we miss you, and we'll look forward to you coming back next week. But let's see here. In Spore's absence, let's check out this latest social media post here by I've only got the audio for you today, folks. So sorry if you're watching the video, but the audio is going to be pretty good anyways here. So check it out.
The bag theft presented a seminar titled Spanking From Calculus to Chemistry.
Why are you the way that you are?
The event was titled LA Leather Getaway and was sponsored by Claw Corporation, a national leather charity. Like, they donate leather bondage gear to BDSM fans in need. Is that what this is? According to their profile on Claw's website, they host monthly kink parties in their dungeon in Washington, D.C., and estimate that they have spanked over 2,000 butts. I'm regretting even reading this. This person was given a position, a high-ranking position, let's not forget, in the Department of Energy. Last Saturday, Sam Brinton, who could be facing 5 years in prison for the bag theft, presented a seminar titled Spanking.
Okay. Sorry, that looped on you, but there you go. That is your nuclear waste czar energy guy, Biden's pup play S&M toy that has these absurd social media accounts and attends events like this. Even now, after having been, picked up for stealing someone's expensive, I don't know, was it Balenciaga? Was it Gucci? I don't know what freaking brand it was. They all sound the same to me. Worthless luxury brand, insert worthless luxury brand here. Actually, not worthless, over $2,000 in worth. And then got caught lying about it. And so the whole thing is just a giant, ugly PR mess. And there you go. I think a lot of people have been seeing that story going around this week, but it got a little bit weirder when I saw Matt Walsh doing that piece there. And you might want to go look that one up for the video, folks, because there's all kind of new pictures of Sam. And I hate that I can't unsee them, but you might want to see them just so you know the caliber and quality of some of our elected officials or appointed officials. The whole thing, the whole DC handshake thing, it's getting really old. But yeah, there you go. Over to you.
This is Sam Brinton, right?
Yes.
So it's funny. I didn't realize until just recently. Sam is actually an androgynous name, like a Pat. See,
Indeed.
just cool. Yeah, they them are very interesting. We'll just leave it at that. I didn't want to know much about this person, to be completely honest with you, but now I have to, because like I saw some articles about this luggage theft that I'm doing really good at this gender pronoun thing. I'm proud of myself.
Yeah, they're training all of us real good.
Russ, the
The
new
articles.
man. See,
That's
it's
right.
working.
Reborn.
Well,
Reborn.
so they, I get to see all sorts of pictures of them, and this time by them I mean more than just they, but with someone else, if that
Right.
makes any sense. So, and one of them, not they, Sam, but the other, God knows who or what. So the pup, I suppose, because
Yeah. Right.
Sam, they identify or call themselves a pup handler.
Pup
And
handler.
in
Yeah. Yeah.
and in some of the pictures, I now know why, and I really, really wish I didn't, because it has nothing to do with like actual puppies. It has to do with full-grown biological men wearing outfits that just until recently I've seen on like teddy bears with kids holding them, thanks to Balenciaga. But those type of outfits and a full-on leather gimp mask that is shaped like a canine face muzzle. So yeah, again, I really wish I didn't have to see that and learn that that's why they call themselves the pup handler. But as we're learning, they also handle more than just pups. They like to handle other people's property, which is wonderful. And yes, this person, they are in charge of the nuclear waste or something, or I don't know what it is exactly, but they hold some sort of government position, and government officials should be held to some sort of level of standards or morality. It doesn't matter what they decide to do with their personal pup lives. That's fine. That's one thing. I'm not judging that in any way, shape, or form. You do you. But to steal somebody's luggage and their contents, that's another story. So it's a bad look. Brah, bruh. What would you say? How would you? I don't know.
Yeah, bruh. Yeah, ruh, my bruh. Absolutely. Chopper, it occurs to me that there was once a time when pup handlers and the like, people that would spend their private time doing these things, that had, fairly out front jobs like that, like they would get oftentimes blackmailed. People would be like, I got a picture of you dressed up like a pup handler. And, it would we've seen how many movies and TV plots have we seen like that, over the years. And now it's just like, no, no. Yeah, I post them myself. And I'm in charge
Yeah,
of nuclear
he's
waste.
got his own all these special accounts for it, dude. I saw too. There's a guy, one of the prominent YouTube dudes, and he actually interviewed this guy a while back before he was the nuclear waste czar at some like, I don't know, LGBT event thing or something, and he just reposted it, and it was kind of funny. But yeah, I don't, dude. Every day, every day, the simulation is breaking. I don't know, dude. This guy is the nuclear waste czar for the government, the feds, and it's just a dude with a leotard that says he's, non-binary, and now they get busted stealing luxury suitcases at airports.
Like, do they not pay you well enough if you're the czar of nuclear waste and stuff like this? I'm sorry, I don't know his precise title, but basically it's that. I imagine he's like one of the people that oversees the bureaucracy in charge of all like the Superfund sites and stuff like that.
Sure, whatever they do however they attempt to get rid of that stuff, I guess. But I'm sure that's a multi-bazillion-dollar budget or
gotta
whatever.
maintain all those things. Like when they set up a location to be a Superfund site, there's like this giant program of record that comes in there with all this money. It creates this little miniature industry that has all this, red tape and bureaucracy and little, bumblebee and ant humans running around doing the same shit every year. It's weird, dude. They put them in funny places, they put them like right next to prisons or, places they want to take over. It's odd if you look at
I don't know how much they spent, but they spent a lot building a nuclear waste facility out here in southern Nevada. And I don't think they ever opened it. Like they basically almost finished it and then didn't open it for some reason, or finished it. This went down like maybe 10 years ago or so.
Well, that's actually a good point, dude, because with all the blocking of things that we used to do for environmental purposes. You know, we got these like legions of active, like green activist lawyers and NGOs and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if that whole cog in the works has like stopped all the super fun stuff. Like this could just be like his position. If I had to guess, I'd say the reason they put a no good like this person, like they in this position, is because that position doesn't mean jack crap anymore. It's probably something that's just a big giant slush fund. They're hardly maintaining anything, or they're running on, you know, impulse power and probably laundering all that money back to the DNC. So they can put their kleptomaniac drag queen in this position and not worry about it, but they can virtue signal at the same time. How's that for a plan?
That sounds good to me. Yeah. So did you think this guy just totally kleptoed it? Like he's like, oh, that's a nice suitcase. I need a new suitcase.
Like, oh girl, that's the nicest Louis Vuitton. That's
This
a
match
rare, that's
it
a rare
matches
Louis right there.
it matches your heels, dude.
Yeah.
It's like
Probably sizing up the person that they saw walk in with it and going, you know what? That lady, her dress will fit me. She probably wears size 9 shoes.
oh man.
Got some Vera Wang in that thing. I'm taking that. That's mine. I'm the nuclear czar.
Well, and that's another thing, is it like we're so used to getting away with things, we thought we could get away with that too. Maybe they will. I don't know. You know. But sounds like they're on leave though. I thought I saw that. So I don't know if it got put on leave or put itself on leave. Maybe it had a lot of pup handling business going on it needed to take care of.
That's more likely.
You know, so it took a few weeks off here.
You know, it was a stretch, Corey. It was a stretch for us to have an opening about a GIMP a week ago or 2 weeks ago, but how could we not? And now this, we went from GIMPs to pup handlers all at once. But in all seriousness, what do you make of all this? What do you estimate?
Well, yeah, it's funny because I spent the last week and a half kind of in the middle of nowhere. And so I completely missed the cutting edge of the latest degeneracy. So I come back and I see this. And the first thing that comes to mind, very similar to something that Ra pointed out there earlier about the androgyny of Sam's name. Sam also means S&M, S-A-M, Sam, sadomasochism. So I was thinking to myself, okay, now the tempo of the degeneracy is throttling up. And if we pull out copies of 128 Days of Sodom, we can almost predict what the next thing is going to be. This sort of normalization of everything that used to be considered underground. So it's like you say, yeah, a week ago, this would have been a bit of a stretch. Now it's normalized. Now it's become something that we can almost predict and expect, which means that there's still a ways to go, and we know how much worse it'll get. You know, just looking at some of the other seminars that were featured at this kink conference with such titles as Heavy Metal Torture, Fisting Fundamentals, Cowboy Rope Bondage, Running a Dungeon 101, Pushing Limits, Managing Fear and Hesitation, interesting one there, Bull Stretching 101, and Advanced Flogging. The sort of normalization of the degradation of the human body seems to be the end goal of all of this. What do you think, Hatcher?
Well, okay, there you go. That's some interesting out front social media forward public, you know, personality behavior for the thank you, Ra, for the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Spent Fuel and Waste Disposition in the Energy Department's Office of Nuclear Energy. Wow, that's a handful. Can you imagine having to introduce this Sam character, you know, to speak at a podium, looking like that, looking like Uncle Fester's like weird kid, and then have to spit out a long ass official title like that, and then have the kleptomaniac crossdresser walk up looking that way. I just can't imagine it, Ruh.
And I can't imagine that you would report a story about this person and then say things like that was a mouthful, long ass, pull out, stuff like that. I don't know. What are you trying to appease the Beavis and Buttheads out there? They're probably having a seizure by now. Good
Yes.
job. Yeah, dude, this is pretty. That is a mouthful. I mean, what a fancy schmancy title for such a fancy schmancy person here. Excellent point you're making here, Corey. I'm starting to wonder if all of this is a staged element. They certainly roll forward some interesting characters and actors, and a lot of fakeness that to degrees that we can't even understand. How much of what we're seeing about this person is real? I don't even know, dude. I can't even. I question everything anymore, dude, to be honest with you. And like, is this a real job? Was this a real thing? I mean, like,
Yeah, how long has this
arguably,
position been there, and who's been in it before? Can we compare the resumes here?
right? Arguably, nobody would have ever heard of this position before this guy. So there's that, at least, whatever the hell that means. But
Yeah, and you know what else is interesting about this? There's a little subtle NLP here that, or, maybe it wasn't intentional, but maybe it is. No one's going to remember Deputy Assistant Secretary of Spent Fuel and Waste Disposition in the Energy Department's Office of Nuclear Energy. That's why everybody in the meme spheres and on social media is just doing it like I was doing it first, where it's like, this is your czar, of nuclear energy. It forces people to speak what his actual title is. And then you get people going, oh no, it's the deputy is, all the be like, no, it's the you conspiracy theorists, it's the deputy assistant secretary, and then they'll give you the long history of that position. And you could still probably do that exercise I recommended and compare resumes, and I'm sure you'd find a stark difference. But it's a subtle trick, whether it's intentional or not. I wouldn't be able to say, but it causes just that little like gray area of dissonance that's required to lubricate the section right there between right and left.
you're
And
doing it again.
mindset. See that? You like that? Yeah, that's good.
Well, that's a good point, but I'm not going to call this dude the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Spent Fuel and Waste Disposition.
Who talks like that?
Right. It's just it's the clown guy in the government stealing suitcases.
It's one in the dress, guys. Jeez. With the pup,
He does
taking the pup around by a leash. Come on.
I wonder if he shops in a figure skating catalog.
Kind of looks like it from some of these photos I've unfortunately seen today.
I do want to say though, you were listing out those courses there, the classes or the workshops, Corey. I honestly, don't judge me, people, but I don't see anything wrong with the advanced flogging. That sounds completely normal to me.
I guess it all depends on who's on the business end of the cat of nine tails.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know. There's nothing else to be said about that, folks. You've seen the picture of this guy, right? I don't even want to flash it on the screen. I have it, but I'm not even going to flash it on the screen. I'm not even going to burn your eyeballs with that. We've all seen it too much at this point. This is what's going on. So there's that. But let's see. So something happened just before the show here. We've been talking about it off air a little bit. A cultural nuclear bomb was lit off this afternoon down here south of me in Texas. And like most nuclear bombs, we have no idea how far and wide the fallout. Thanks, Creative Accidents. We have no idea how far and wide the fallout is going to spread from what happened today at the InfoWars studio. Ye dropped in along with Fuentes, and they had call-ins from the likes of, is it Ari or Ollie? I never remember. Alexander, and who else was there? Some other people. Owen was there, and Alex, and Ye. And wow. So I don't even really know what to say about what I saw, and I think I only saw half of the footage. But I do know enough after watching it to know that there are going to be shockwaves from this whole presentation. I do not know how to classify it yet. Some as Joseph Arthur said when I talked to him on the phone, it was like Ye just like took the Overton window and threw it literally out the window and just popped on through about 150,000 thoughts that are just never supposed to be heard by 75 million people within a few hours. Some of it was good, some of it was like okay. Some of the parts of it I wonder. It's like I almost got the impression that Ye, what he's trying to portray is that he is willing to be Clinton. He's willing to, give it all up. He's like, they won't take me out. I don't care how they take me out. And I think when he says, and this is just my supposition, I wonder if when he says the most inflammatory things that he says, if he's trying to offer himself up as some sort of martyrdom situation. Because I think one of the things, at least that I'm getting, that he's putting down is that if the system, you will, can do these things to him, then they can do them to anybody and everybody, and he's willing to give it all up to prove that. So there's that. But like I said, I watched one of two. I don't even know how long it was, the thing in its entirety. But what I can say also is that the short clips, man, yay. If you're gonna, I'll say I appreciate Alex for giving Ye the open mic and letting him do his thing and expand on it much more than other people would, and didn't disrespect him like Tim Pool did. But if you're Ye and you're saying the things the way you're laying them out, you're gonna have a certain amount of blowback because they take the small clips and they put them on Twitter out of context, and they sound a lot more bad than they do without the full context. But when you've got, half the country already made their mind up about you and Alex Jones and, the circle that you're running in right now, and then the whole internet starts making those 1-2 minute splices or 30-second splices, 10-second splices, like that's all those people on that side that have already made their mind up are going to see are those splices. Unless they want to be outraged, those people will watch the whole thing and they will pull, they'll cherry pick what fits in their worldview. So for me, it was a mixed bag, what I saw so far. And I don't know what else to say about it. Ruh, what do you think, man? I think we both probably watched about the same amount of that today before the show.
Well, it's not like he said he loved Hitler and Nazis.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
wait.
that's exactly what he said.
Actually, that was included. Yes. So naturally, this is going to be a cultural nuclear bomb and a media nuclear bomb, because it's already sending little divisive shockwaves around in the independent and alternative medias and in the blue check marks. I mean, it's really divisive.
Yeah, I reported about this earlier on TNT. Pretty breaking as it was happening, almost, because this is like, wow. I mean, I don't know how long the whole thing went on for, but it looks like the whole thing was at least 3 hours. So I got a chance to actually watch about 20 minutes of somewhere in the middle towards the end, and then half hour's worth of the beginning of the full video. And I immediately, and that was after I reported about it, and I was just accessing news articles and clippings and seeing. And one thing I can tell you is, like you just said, all of these things that he said that have already been taken completely out of context are cringy enough, even with the context. So it's not like, hey, you should know this was gonna. Of course, he knows this is gonna happen. That he's on this weird crusade, like you were pointing out, to be some sort of martyr figure. I was kind of spitballing it for a second in the Discord chat with who was it? I think Sunbow. And let's see, there's a couple things. I was joking around saying that he's like, I wasn't really joking, but he's the next Alex Jones. That's where this is headed, because Alex Jones. Okay, why? Okay, let's take Ye out of this for a second. Okay, Ye does whatever Ye does. Who knows, right? But maybe we'll get to that in a second. But we know Alex, and we know how Alex rolls, and we know a lot about Alex, and we know what Alex just went through. And Alex is certainly no dummy. Why the actual F would Alex do this? This is a freaking nail in the coffin for Alex Jones. And I think that's the bigger story here, that people right now are all focusing their attention on Ye, but I think the bigger person who's going to suffer for this, unfortunately, is going to be Alex. Now, that being said, if Alex does fall, because he's been having some troubles lately, even before this, there has to be somebody, some grand new, insane out there, wackadoodle. We're going to give you some good truths, but then we're just going to be used to paint all of you people as absolute nut job, tinfoil hat wearing crazies. Enter Ye. He could be Alex's replacement. Who knows? If such things exist in this conspiratorial setting that I'm laying out here, and I'm not sure I necessarily believe in things that much, but now back to Ye. Wow. I certainly, going into watching the video, did not think that I was going to be agreeing with anything he had to say, and boy, was I wrong. So there's that. I need to finish watching it. But there is something that I took offense to when I saw the clips and the parts from the ending about some stuff that I originally thought. I mean, I was mentioning this to Sunbell earlier. There's also this idea, not idea, but you can plainly see it. Like, Ye opens up the whole interview with the reason he's there is he's going on this big biblical Bible thumping Jesus talk stuff, right? And I can appreciate all that, but everything else after that, especially considering what we're talking about here and how these clips are being used, this is way too easy to paint a broad brush on anyone who identifies as Christian as being like this wackadoodle. So I was concerned about that. At first, I thought, oh, is he just some controlled weird devil thing? What's with this weird mask thing? And please don't let me steer too far away from that. I want to make one last point about something, and that's the mask. But I was like, oh, this is being used to discredit conspiracy theorists, and this is making Christians look really bad because this guy doesn't speak for me. Why is he you? Why is he say? And I had that reaction, and I'm like, if even I had that, not even hearing the full thing without giving him a chance and seeing the whole context, that says a lot. So I think that, yeah, this will be used to, yet more ammunition in the toolbox to discredit, conservatives, Christians, conspiracy theorists, all sorts of fine people out there. We're all anti-Semites now. We all like Hitler and all this stuff now. Now the mask, I had no idea because I was kind of confused and off-put by that too at first, but he did make an interesting point that I was kind of trolling on in the beginning part here when we came on, and he was arguing that they, and I'm just going to use the they from now on because that's really who he's talking about. He keeps switching the labels on it, and he'll call them this or he'll call them that, and he does change it up. He's talking about the same they, I believe, that most of the time that we talk about. Okay, so it doesn't matter who or what they are. I don't give a F, right? But he was saying that they have owned his image for too long, and it was a form of control over him. And I don't know, but being a successful, and particularly a black man in America, that might make him feel like a slave. And this is really a weird symbolic thing to put it on, this mask, to hide his image, as a form of he's saying, I own myself now. I am my own owner. It was a self-ownership thing, and I thought that was actually really interesting and profound. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I get it now why he does that. But I don't like that he would just leave it up for people's interpretation. I'd like, no, explain to people what you're doing, and that hits home. You're making a damn good point, brother. Make that point. Don't hide from that. Tell everybody why you're doing that. Because at first I thought like, ooh, this is kind of creepy and weird and satanic. Not at all. If what he's saying is above board for his reason for doing it, but I can understand that, you know. So I was like, good on you, man. And that's sending a pretty powerful message, almost in a way that we saw with these Chinese trying to do their little blank paper thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But there you go.
Yeah, I got the feeling there was like a sort of a multi-layered effect he was going for there, where it was like there were truth bombs coming, and then there were jabs being, verbal jabs being given to elicit responses, or to see how far he could take it. I mean, he's not even concerned about it. You know what I mean? It seems I don't think he's acting or playing a part or anything like that. I mean, I'll leave a little bit of space for that because he has been checked into that same Stanford mental health center that people like Britney Spears have been checked into. And, it's really hard to, just as a normal person seeing these people only on screens for the most part, it's really hard to kind of suss out like what you're dealing with there. But I've watched a lot of footage of him lately talking to the paparazzi, and I feel like he may be being he's running in a manipulative circle, in my opinion. I'll say that. You're gonna run around with Milo and Fuentes and Jones. That I'm concerned about you if that's the circle you're gonna run in, because I know a little couple things about how these industries work in the background, and I've heard some stories about some of these people, and I've read some open source news about some of these people like Ali. I don't understand why you would want to hang with Ali. I mean, that guy, uh, arguably, he's got some shady role in J6. So, and there's plenty of people reporting on that out there. And I don't know the truth of that matter, but if I were Ye, it'd be like, I don't know. That was one of the red flags for me, Ruckus. It was like I saw a bunch of stuff. I thought, wow, that's crazy that he's making this point, and all these people are watching it, and a lot of it was like, and he's been rapping about the New World Order since 2013, as far as I can remember back. I mean, it's not like he's new to these topics, and he does seem to have a good context in many ways about the trappings of our world right now, like you know so it's a strange one to hack up. It was a really strange piece of media to hack up, and like I said, having only seen half of it, I feel like I need to see the whole thing twice and kind of to like take notes on it to really deconstruct it. Like I'm still uh it was a novel media experience, I guess. That's why I call it a nuclear bomb, and it's going to be really divisive for all the reasons you laid out there, Ruckus. And it's going to also pull people in. Some of the things he said are going to pull people in, for better or worse.
And the stupid prop Netanyahu joke was just absolutely asinine, childish. I guess he claimed that he had never even heard of Benjamin Netanyahu before, but he thought his last name was funny, and that's why he did this bizarre, I mean, childish, like not even funny, like super cringy, what he thought was a joke that didn't make any sense, other than the fact he was trying to make a joke that it was a net and Yahoo. And I think that was all he was going for. It was cringy. That was probably the worst part I saw so far.
Yeah,
Knock
that
on
was
wood.
that was pretty weird.
But going into it knowing that he said, "I like Hitler," if that's gonna be the worst part, I'll take it, the net and the Yahoo bottle, great. If that's the worst part and, awesome, but I'm afraid that there's gonna be some stuff in there that I'm gonna be like, "Okay, yeah, what's up with
Yeah,
that?" So,
it's
we'll see.
such a mixed bag, dude. And the other side of, I guess, another thing I'll throw out there is, no one cares if you tweet out, I love Stalin. Stalin killed like what, 60 million people. So I mean, just bringing this discussion to people forces them to think about little things like that. It's like, well, wait a minute, he's going to lose access to his bank account because he said this and he wore this T-shirt when other people are tweeting this out. I believe that Stalin's granddaughter, Corey, maybe you can confirm or deny this, lives in the Pacific Northwest somewhere and is like an interesting character.
Yes, that's my understanding. Yes, I don't know this from any firsthand experience, but let's just say that I have it from credible sources that that is the case. As far as this whole clip is concerned, I was only able to stomach 20 minutes of it because I just found the babbling incoherence so grating and irritating that I just had to set the phone down and walk away and just look at a dead tree because that was actually more preferable. And I've never really been much of a fan of Ye because I don't really like hip hop, so I've always kind of disregarded him. So kind of seeing the antics on the clip today, a number of things came to mind, and they sort of connect to what we were just talking about half an hour ago regarding Sam, because you seem to have these people who are being positioned almost in a ritualistic way. So with someone like Sam, you've got this idea of, I think, the emasculation of America in particular on the world stage. And then I think with this Alex Jones clip, with the things that Kanye is saying, you have just enough material there that is actually good argumentation, but it's mixed in with such babbling incoherence and gobbledygook and things that are actually taboo breaking that anyone who touches those arguments is instantly, like you guys were saying, lumped in by association with his bag of crazy, which means that you're in a position where there's no real purchase when you're trying to argue against the narrative. Another aspect of that I found interesting was in the blocking of the shot. So if you look at the wide shot in the clip, I think if I recall, this is from memory, please correct me if I'm wrong, but you've got Alex Jones in the center, and then you've got Fuentes on camera right, and you've got Kanye in camera left, and he's got the mask and the whole getup on. When I was watching it, I kept thinking to myself, okay, so he's on the right hand of Alex Jones, but from the perspective of the camera, he's on the left hand. And in the occult, what is the left hand path? It's about breaking taboos. So in the context of that, I couldn't look at that and say that there's anything about this that's particularly innocent. It seemed blocked in a very deliberate way, which is why when I think about the clips now, I think to myself, okay, there's a 1981 book called Positioning the Battle for Your Mind by Al Reese and Jack Trout, which is all about positioning. It's all about finding holes in common cultural understanding and planting an irrefutable monolithic idea, an inception into those gaps in understanding. And I think that's what this is. Because just like you guys were saying, now any sound argumentation against the narrative, no matter how well backed up by reason and evidence, is going to be associated with the extremes. It's going to be associated with the things that he was saying and instantly discredited. That's the function of all of this. And I definitely agree with what you were saying before there, Ra, that he's being, I think, groomed and set up to be the next Alex Jones. He's going to be taking on that role, I think, culturally going forward. I think that's absolutely the case. So I see the whole thing as a ritual initiation into a higher state of cultural management, semiotic chaos. He's a Trojan horse of the highest order.
What do you think about the because there was a part where all three of them were wearing a mask. Alex Jones was wearing the Gorn. Is that what it's called?
It was the Gorn from Star Trek. Yeah, right.
Yeah, go ahead. Explain this all to the audience.
Yeah, and again, this is just from memory, so of course, correct me if I'm wrong. But I noticed the Gorn mask at first, and wasn't he also at the time he was talking about how he was the villain, right? And so that's a famous Star Trek episode called Arena, where Captain Kirk finds himself on an outpost. I think Setlik 3. Timmer, if you're listening, correct me if I'm wrong. And essentially, Kirk is cut off from the Enterprise, and he has to battle this Gorn, this lizard monster, right? This creature that no one has ever seen before. The Federation has only encountered them in the depths of space, but they've never had face-to-face contact, and they have to fight mano a mano on this planet. And the whole thing is orchestrated, I think, by a higher intelligence, if I recall. There's so much happening in the blocking and in the positioning of all three of those characters in the clip, that I can't look at this as anything other than something that was deliberately staged for the benefit of the masses.
That's why I think it's interesting that they chose that mask, and then by that same reasoning, for some reason, Fuentes was wearing a mask of Alex Jones's face.
Right.
So the whole
Right.
thing was just crazy.
Right. Yeah. So there's definitely I think you're right on the money. I think that the setup is that Alex Jones will fade away into the sunset. He will become a non-entity to a degree. I think you could say the same thing has happened to Fuentes. And Kanye will take off his mask. He will reveal himself and he will step into center stage and take Alex Jones' place. So that I do see that as some sort of ritual initiation. Absolutely.
I gotta say, I do feel like Kanye is being genuine. You know, that's one of the reasons I feel like there's maybe a vulnerability in his surrounding or what's happened to him, you know, between 2015 and now. You know, he's undergone great changes. There's been an interesting character arc for him, if you will. Forgive me, Kanye, if that's depersonalizing or anything like that, but just as a viewer, you know, to see you go from that kid in Chirac to that up and coming producer to that rapper to that mogul to, you know, that sort of musical innovator that you were there in that period between, I don't know, 808s and Pablo or the one before that, and then into this whole like evangelical phase, you know, like once he's in that phase, you know, he's a recovering alcoholic, he's in this evangelical phase. He doesn't rap about ends, and you know, he doesn't categorize men and women as ends and B's anymore. And you know what I mean? His music is totally changed. It's like that's a pretty crazy, if you think about it, story, you know, narrative, life story. And to be as rich as he is, you know, and then married to the, you know, oddly, and I'll never understand why, the most famous woman in America, you know, our very own pseudo Cleopatra or whatever archetype Kim Kardashian is supposed to represent. It's all just a little bit weird. It's all really weird. And then to have Bruce Jenner up in there, you know, and it's all too weird. But then to have, you know, come full circle to right now, Kanye is basically saying, yeah, the new world order is happening and great resets are happening, and you know, pointing out just everything that people on the alt right were just like he's basically using all the alt right talking points that were already demonized once. So it's like on the one hand dropping some veils for some people, you know, because people are going to flock to that. There are people who were not conspiracy theorists that are just giant Kanye fans who are now going to be conspiracy theorists. And I'm not saying it in the pejorative way, and I'm not saying it in, you know, I'm talking about like brand new hatchlings of people thirsty for information that are no longer afraid to look into the realms of quote unquote conspiracy. So there's going to be, that's why I'm saying this is the nuclear social bomb. There's going to be shockwaves from this, some good, some bad. It's chaotic. It looks ritualistic, but I still feel like he's being authentic for, you know, unless he's MK Ultra, then all bets are off. But I feel like he's not a good enough actor to play this role without it being like maybe stage managed in a way that he's not 100% aware of, because that he's admitting that's already been what's happening, right? His trainer, an MK Ultra related psyops guy. I mean, he's naming names and he's got evidence to back up some of the claims that he's making, but where does all the mud go? Where does the dust settle? I don't know. What do you think, Chopper?
I turned on the internet today And Ye had a gimp mask, and Jones had a lizard head, and the internet broke.
What more can we say?
Yeah, I mean, you guys chopped it up pretty good. I don't know if I have anything of real intelligence or value
What
to add
more-
to that, but it just
What more can we say, man? Just kidding. I won't do that.
But yeah, it's pretty crazy, dude. I think it's gonna melt a lot of people's minds too. That, like you were saying, the divisiveness is gonna heighten. And real quick, what you guys are talking about passing Jones's job in the cultural zeitgeist to I don't know. I think Owen Schroyer is gonna be very upset about that. Because
I have a hard time seeing Ye sitting still long enough to do Alex Jones's routine, but I don't know. I mean, in some sense, they might be right. Like maybe another way to think about that is like before in the last epoch, we had QAnon to blame everything on. Maybe now we take all of the vitriol of QAnon, all of the vitriol of Trump, and funnel it all into this one human being who will then embody it, and then we can have like these super characters, you know, that people are just, like, completely polarized against. It's basically like creating this like media superhero zone, perhaps. I mean, so Kanye will become the new QAnon, whereas before QAnon was this, you know, amorphous network of, you know, white-hatted people on the internet, all anonymous.
Right. Well, it's supposed to be some, you know, somebody with all the super high security clearance with all the inside knowledge. But yeah, what it really is a bunch of people listening to this on the internet in a forum and getting all excited for shit that's probably never gonna happen. And then, but it gives a foil to people to be like, yeah, see, and so any good points or things that Q people might think or believe or whatever opinions, etc. But then they can shit on it because, oh, look, you guys are just Q clowns, you know,
Right.
And, but real quick, figuratively, I think there's something to what they're saying about the passing of the torch there to Kanye. I was just making a joke that I think Owen fancies himself a mini Alex Jones or whatever. I don't really care for that dude either too much. Whatever. It's a side note, but
yeah. So
Chopper, he said he was going to run for. Ye said he was going to be running for president, dude.
yeah, can you just see that working
Doesn't
out?
that get you excited to vote again, man?
you know, that's funny. Last week, my 16-year-old said she was going to vote for Ye. We were laughing about that, having a good time with it or whatever. But
well, given the options, I don't blame her.
I haven't, but right, I really can, especially at her age. But I don't know if I'm sure she's probably seen the latest eruption today too. I don't know, but I haven't spoken with her yet today. So
Yeah. Well, you know, we're also in the era now where our apex politicians are octogenarians. You know, they're Nancy Pelosi just signed her paperwork for her 24 campaign, and I think she's going to be like 92 or something by the time she finishes out that run. Nancy, what are you doing? Do you really want
I don't know. Well, I forgot to mention earlier, I'm swooping in on that. I got my senator uniform on today.
All right. I mean,
I'm ready to go. I just need a little computer chip device in my brain. Oh, wait a minute. And then I can become a fancy politician.
Yeah, you may also need to drag someone along behind you in a dog suit by a leash, though, if you really want to have a shot.
I got it. Yeah, that'll help me with the kink vote.
Yeah.
I need to have some kind of vote block for a base, right?
That's the entire Democrat vote, dude. It's easy for Democrats now. They've figured this out. Republicans haven't figured this out yet. They just tick D all the way down, even if it means D for dog boy, and that's what they do. That's all they do. That's one of the ways, that and mail-in ballots and a few other nasty tricks. But that's how they do this stuff. You know, just D D D D D D D all the way down. It doesn't matter if, you know, whatever's inside that. It doesn't matter to them because it's a I don't know, existential imperative to make sure that nobody with the R gets in. But whatever.
Guys,
Yeah.
what's going on? Like I woke up today, like yesterday it was Clown World, and today it's like S&M, like bondage, pup dog,
It's
teddy
Gimp
bear
World,
world.
dude.
It's Gimp World. Yeah, exactly, dude. Like, how
Yeah.
did this happen, dude? I swear, like something changed just like in a week's time here. I'm not crazy here. Like, you mentioned those brain chips a second ago, Chopper. By the way, there's news now that they're ready to start rolling with that shit in 6 months, dude.
Well, that's what
6
Elon says.
months. Yeah, according to
Elon
Elon.
says
But
he's been saying full self-driving cars for next month for the last decade too. So
I know, but I
Yeah,
don't
but dude,
know. This is
I,
getting too close, you know.
it was weird that news came out today because it was just yesterday, or the day before. I was on the show saying like, "What happened to Neuralink?" And then it was like, boom, Neuralink is back in the news, and it was like, okay, it's Neuralink's turn. It's been Twitter's turn. Now Twitter is, realized and working. This is the way Twitter's going to work now. Elon is the new Donald Trump, pretty much, and Donald Trump's going to stay in his little sandbox on that Truth Social or whatever. And Elon's going to be like a less heavy-handed Donald Trump, for better or worse. Some good changes happening there, but again, it's like I never let anyone forget about the pigs that they used the robot to sew Neuralink stuff into. And the funny thing, I think I started to say this on my show earlier today and I got distracted, but the funny thing is, in that picture of his nightstand, there's the replica gun there of the Deus Ex video game gun. And Deus Ex is like, aside from BioShock and some old school stuff, that's really the one of the most well written and most popular games about cybernetic humans, creating cybernetic human interfaces for upgrades and technology and abilities and stuff like that. So that's a replica gun sitting on his nightstand. He must have great security if he only needs a replica gun next to his bed. By the way, Elon, get yourself a gun that actually shoots, nerd. Just kidding, man. That's cool. If that's how you want to roll with 4 poisonous cokes and a fake gun. But anyways, I think it's symbolic of Neuralink. And then it was like, right. And notice these articles came out right after he tweeted that. So we were all like, what is all this about? And then boom, Neuralink comes out. Wandering Wolf, did you play Deus Ex? Are you familiar with that series?
Absolutely. I mean, I've been a massive fan of the cyberpunk genre for a very long time. Certainly since the late '80s when it was just starting to take off. And yeah, I played those games back in the day. Still have them. And then other games that are very similar. I mean, there was the tabletop RPGs for Cyberpunk. There was a GURPS version. There was Shadowrun, which was basically a melding of Tolkien-esque fantasy and cyberpunk. But really, I think where I always find myself going back to is the work of William Gibson and books like Neuromancer or Mona Lisa Overdrive, because he's talking very much about how once these interface technologies come out, once you're able to actually jack into the matrix, and that is the actual terminology from the universe that he created, the neural network that all humanity shares. Every aspect of your life becomes subject to the needs of the machine. So in the case of something like Neuromancer, you've got the main character, Case, who's sort of a private eye gun for hire. He has his entire nervous system fried on a job because he's trying to hack a supercomputer for a corporation. And the whole book is about him trying to get that repaired so that he can actually live in the society. So the implications of technology and how it interfaces with human beings and people being obsessed with making that into reality, that's always something that I've played around with. But I, for the longest time thought it would be hundreds of years away because of games like Deus Ex and others saying, oh, no, that's far off into the future. You won't be alive to see that happen. Boy, was I wrong.
Yeah, and there's folks, if you're interested in that and you're not a gamer, there's YouTube videos. I'm not sure exactly what the search terms are. It's been a while since I looked at it, but we've talked about it on the show in the past. There's YouTube parts where they cut out the clip scenes, the cut scenes in the game that give you bits and pieces of the plot lines, and you'll find that vaccines, gene therapies, nano, medical and technological injections and stuff like that are, and those being corrupted and used against people are highly woven into the fabric of the story of that game. BioShock is another one that's very similar, that kind of goes to show just like, how dystopic the apex of technology is when man melds with machine. I was on Timothy Shea's show earlier today, and we were talking about Graham Hancock and his new series, and was there another apex civilization before us? Was it deleted from our history? Wouldn't that be interesting if there was another human, like pre 10,000 BC? That's about as far back as we go, and I think we would have had a lot more information if the Library at Alexandria hadn't been burned down. But maybe the Library of Alexandria is just a metaphor for a blockchain technology. Maybe an ancient civilization reached that point of singularity and stuck in a blockchain, and people started hooking themselves up with all this stuff, and boom, it all falls apart. You end up in Cylon warfare or something like that, or God sends a giant asteroid to cleanse the earth, or a flood or something. I don't know. How do we get on that? Sorry.
Well, the one thing those stories all have in common is it always ends in some kind of catastrophe, doesn't it? The destruction of everything, and tabula rasa, right? The wiping of the slate and starting over all again from the bare substrates of life.
Absolutely. I think I have a couple of clips I might be able to show everybody of this Neuralink stuff. Let's see here. Oh God, I ended up back on Sam Brinkman article when I moved that tab. That's disturbing.
Hesher, can I share the plot line real quick for this particular the specific video game that specific gun came from? I think it bears some rather significant importance, but maybe
Please
the
do.
the listeners can decide, because that gun, the replica gun on Elon Musk's nightstand, which for some random reason he chose to tweet alongside, by the way, a flintlock pistol replica as well, Washington, like, what is all this? That's revolutionary stuff, right? This video game is also, this one was the Human Revolution video game, Deus Ex Human Revolution. I played this game, actually, believe it or not. But here is the actual synopsis. This is just going to blow your freaking mind, everybody. Human Revolution takes place in the year 2027, 25 years prior to the original Deus Ex. The Deus Ex series is set in cyberpunk future, rife with secret organizations and conspiracies. Among these forces is the Illuminati. Leading up to Human Revolution, there have been marked improvements in human society, with people actively fighting global warming, finding cures for various diseases, and improving green energy. Alongside this, global megacorporations have come to eclipse government authority in power and influence, while private military forces dwarf the sanctioned armies of first world countries. Advances in biotechnology and cybernetics have led to the development of augmentations, advanced artificial organs capable of significantly improving and enhancing the human body's performance. And I think the rest is not that important. But just that first part, where this video game takes place in the storyline of human society and transhumanist lenses, I don't think that was a simple tweet at all, and all of that was intentional, and this is insanity. And yes, Chopper, I understand that Elon Musk says these things all the time, but I think this time he fucking means it.
Yeah. And so two things I want to show you guys with regards to what we've said so far on this topic. I can't decide which to go with first. Do you want to see the Neuralink footage or the Deus Ex footage? Where should we start, Ruckus? I mean, Ruh.
Why don't we do the Deus Ex, since I just brought it up?
Okay. All right. Well, let's get over here. We'll go full screen with that and see what happens here.
Your appointment to FEMA should be finalized within the week. I've already discussed the matter with the senator.
I take it he was agreeable.
He didn't really have a choice.
Has he been infected?
Oh, yes, most certainly. When I mentioned that we could put him on the priority list for the ambrosia vaccine, he was so willing it was almost pathetic.
This plague, the rioting, is intensifying to the point where we may not be able to contain it.
Why contain it? Let it spill over into the schools and churches. Let the bodies pile up in the streets. In the end, they'll beg us to save them.
I've received reports of armed attacks on shipments. There's not enough vaccine to go around, and the underclasses are starting to get desperate.
Of course they're desperate. They can smell their death, and the sound they'll make rattling their cage will serve as a warning to the rest.
I hope you're not underestimating the problem. The others may not go as quietly as you think. Intelligence indicates they're behind the problems in Paris.
A bunch of pretentious old men playing at running the world. But the world left them behind long ago. We are the future.
We have other problems.
UNATCO?
Formed by executive order after the terrorist strike on the statue. I have someone in place, though. I'm more concerned about Savage. He's relocated to Vandenberg.
Our biochem corpus is far in advance of theirs, as is our electronic sentience, and their ethical inflexibility has allowed us to make progress in areas they refuse to consider.
The augmentation project?
Among other things, but I must admit that I have been somewhat disappointed in the performance of the primary unit.
The secondary unit should be online soon. It's currently undergoing preparation and will be operational within 6 months. My people will continue to report on its progress. If necessary, the primary will be terminated.
We've had to endure much, you and I, but soon there will be order again. A new age.
All right, I got to stop that. That goes on a little bit longer than I want to sit through, but you folks get the flavor there. Just 2 minutes of that. That's just one video. If you go over to YouTube, what did I type? I just typed in Deus Ex predicted 2020, and you'll get a whole host of videos and some longer form ones where people are doing analysis and stuff, but you get the picture here. So why would Elon put the replica weapon from that video game on his nightstand and tweet it out? And I mean, Elon's arguably as trolly as Kanye sometimes, but you got to be a little more intellectual to catch it.
He said 6 months. Did you catch that part?
Yep. 6 months.
Oh my God. What?
And where have we heard that before?
Can't make this shit up. This is crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. By the way, Hasher, I know you're going to pull up some stuff about the Neuralink. I know yours involves pigs. Do you have anything about the monkeys? If not, I'll throw you something. Okay, cool.
I think I do. I mean, I'm on it. It's not an ideal place, but we'll try it out. We'll see what it looks like on here. But before I do, anybody want to make a comment after the cyberpunk clip there?
I just want to throw out there that I find it amusing that, like, you knew what the video game was from, and next thing you guys are digging all this crazy stuff up. I'm sitting there blown away watching it. Like, that's it. I'm out. This is too fucking crazy. But I was laughing because I saw like some of the replies to his tweet of that picture, and like these people are upset. He's like pushing violence because he had a gun in the picture, and they were like some of these people. I think they thought it was a real gun too. Like I don't know. I was just laughing like, okay, no, there's way more going on here than that, dude.
Dude, it doesn't even have a trigger. There's no trigger on the gun. It's just an open trigger guard. There's no bang switch.
Well, these people, I mean, they have these gun buyback programs, and people bring them shit like that, and they pay them for it. So then they take pictures and post, look at all the guns we got off the street, man. It's a bunch of trash like that. What?
Well, before
That's not to mention we haven't explored, and I don't want to explore personally because I really don't want to know at this point about the other object on his desk, that Hindu weapon thing. I'm like, that's probably going to take me down a dark rabbit hole. I don't know. I'm just, get it out of your head there, Ruckus. I mean, Get it straight.
Yeah, I know. It took me a bit. I dug a little bit into that, and I was like, I'm going to stop this right here. This means something like completely. I mean, you just saw how we broke down what the gun means, at least one of the guns. The other one, and he's the richest guy on earth. Before I zoomed into the picture, I saw it on my phone and I was like, oh, that's a crazy custom blaster he's got there. I figure he could actually afford to have, like Jesse James, who used to make motorcycles. He lives down here in Texas now and he makes custom 1911 pistols and shit like that. And they're super expensive. They're as custom and beautiful as the motorcycles he makes are. He may have even given Alex Jones one. I can't remember, but so I figured, Elon, he could pay someone like that to, make an actual Deus Ex blaster that would work. But alas, no, it's a replica, a toy, a cheap rebuild. I don't know. Probably another cosplay. We know Elon likes to cosplay. We've seen him in his little video game devil man suit recently, so.
Something came to mind just now when you were talking about that replica. I immediately thought replicant, like Blade Runner. And of course, I think I've said it on the show before, but Ridley Scott has said that Blade Runner and Alien actually take place in the same universe. So Weyland-Yutani, the company referred to in the Alien films, interestingly enough, too, they always refer to it as the company, never as Weyland-Yutani. The company, of course, being slang for the CIA. But Weyland-Yutani and Tyrell Corporation are both big competitors, kind of in Ridley Scott's cinematic universe. So that's one thought that came to mind. The other thing I had too was we haven't mentioned what Deus Ex means and where it comes from. It comes from the phrase Deus Ex Machina, which derives from the ancient practice of Greek theater when the drama would go on a bit too long, and so they would actually lower down an actor playing one of the Greek gods onto the stage from a crane, and the god would resolve all of the action in the drama of the play. So I take that idea and I put it in the context of on the Neuralink.com website blog, they talk about the 3 R's: refinement, reduction, and replacement, which definitely sound like 3 tenets of the function of a god to me.
Yeah, exactly. Pseudo god in that case, a clear, obvious pseudo god. Very interesting. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. All right, let's see if I've got viable audio and video here that I can share. It's in this like stupid small Instagram size. I don't know how this is gonna go, but we'll give it a shot. Stupid thing. All right, that's a no-go. I'm gonna have to use your link there, Ruckus, because that
Oh,
one.
no, my link was not like just watching them play the game. These guys got in trouble just in February of this year because some of these monkeys involved in these experiments were found with some very strange and sad side effects. One of the monkeys appeared to be missing its fingers for no explainable reason. They're saying that it was self-inflicted. So after getting this implant, the monkey decided to just self-mutilate. That's interesting. Probably nothing to be concerned about, right? Also, another one, after having the electrodes connected, got like dizzy and started vomiting, and they thought, okay, well, that's interesting. Took some notes. A couple days later, thing just fell over, flopped, and then they said, well, let's just kill it and do an autopsy, and they did. Monkey had a brain hemorrhage.
Huh.
So, yeah. But they don't really talk about this stuff very much now, do they? But don't worry, it's ready. It's going to be ready in 6 months. Oh, by the way, this is not ready for just general use yet. When it is ready, supposedly in 6 months, there's a special targeted audience for this currently. Like the beta run group is going to be people with brain injuries. So, yeah, very interesting.
You gotta love it when they bring up a new piece of kit like this that has all these moral questions associated with it, all these sociological questions and cultural questions and medical questions, and technological questions. And they sell it to you right off the bat. They sell it to the weak-minded on their empathy. They use empathy for people who are hurting or dealing with challenges or disabilities or diseases. And they say, this extreme, crazy new thing is going to help this classification of people that are hurting. Just like they did with the COVID jabs, except they found a way to make it be for everybody with the asymptomatic spreader thing. and all the testing. So at what point, I got a security alert happening here. Sorry. At what point, I was asking John Matlin this earlier today. At what point do they find an emergency that makes it such that you have to have a Neuralink for everybody else's safety? Because they just did that with an experimental new piece of gene technology, and it doesn't seem to be working a whole lot better than the experience these Neuralink monkeys and pigs are having. But they're going to go ahead and say they're going to do this to people in 6 months. I mean, how are we to respond to that with anything other than extreme hesitancy and extreme skepticism and a desire to be involved in these decisions and not be sold this concept strictly based on our empathy for people that are suffering? That's what I want to know.
Why are they trying to make the real world into a video game? That's what I want to know.
And why are we going to let them? I mean, this isn't like they're just going to give this to people that are suffering from, I don't know, what is it, asthma, glaucoma? I don't know what freaking condition they're going to say this can help you fix. But on top of that, you can game. Can you imagine that, Chopper? Like, this is going to help these sick people. Oh, and they can control the mouse on their computer without using a mouse. They just think about it and it goes. Isn't that neat?
My question is how long it goes from, hey, this works and we can stick it in people and it's safe and effective and convenient, to being mandated.
Necessary, right? That's what I'm saying.
You gotta have this, dude. No thanks. I'll just take my chances with that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm just, this is scary shit.
We saw, Corey, how safe, effective, and necessary worked out for the world in the short term. We have not seen how it works out in the long term with regards to the mRNA. And it's just so much easier to imagine something like Neuralink being required as necessary, safe, and effective for some situation.
Yeah, if you want to get your job at the corporate plant, if you want to rent one of the new EV smart cars in the city that you've traveled to, you have to have your Neuralink installed with the updated software and firmware. I mean, of course, absolutely, they will do everything possible to normalize this, and I think in a weird way, it's kind of part of the what I referred to as degeneracy earlier with what we kicked off the boiler room with, what tonight, this whole notion of taking the natural functions of the human body, lampooning them, making them absurd, making them ridiculous, and then at the same time we have this technological solution to the base vulgar ugliness that is human beings, the biological organism that we are. The notion that the only way to make it clean and pure and functional and something that is aesthetically pleasing and something that is useful is to augment it with the unnatural, with the synthetic, with technology. It's insidious.
Yeah. And I mean, that it's no different than what the COVID jab is. The COVID jab is technology. It is biotechnology. That's what gene therapy is. It's experimental. And guess what? We're the experiment batch. Not us. Not us four. We're the control group. We pure blood, no GMO up in the boiler room tonight. But that's exactly what this was. This was, technological experimentation on the public done via a fear campaign, a very, very complicated and planned out fear campaign that is still going on by dictate and mandate in places like California and at the federal level to a certain extent right now.
And as the tempo of fear in crisis increases, the idea that these things are necessary only becomes that much more irrefutable in the minds of the general public. and sort of putting the gene therapy aspect in the context of video games. When I think about that particular plot point, Deus Ex wasn't the only highly regarded series of games to talk about gene editing. The Metal Gear Solid series was all about that. The original one really did everything possible to sex it up. And to make it something that was cool and hip and interesting. And of course, they definitely played with the question of, well, what happens when these creations get out of control and try to take over the powers that be and upset the order of things? Yeah, they were having a philosophical question there, but still, only the augmented could stop the augmented. So augmentation through genetic tampering becomes a virtue. It becomes a sort of ritual initiation that heroes undergo in order to save the day. It's already been positioned that way,
Right.
in the cultural context. Yeah.
Ruh. Hey, Ruh. Yo, Ruh. What up? I know you got to bounce out of here pretty soon, man. You want to throw anything down before you get out of here?
Isn't this interesting that we're seeing this shifting of the pawns in this grand chess game here, and they involve all these billionaires? What's up with that? Every single one of them that have been significant and making some serious moves all around, and now in your face is all these weird, extremely rich billionaires and millionaires, some of them. But yeah, I'd like to officially go on the record. No offense to anyone here if you are one. Fuck billionaires. But anyways, I am not going to be taking a chip, but I will be keeping a very close eye on this Yay thing because I'm very concerned. Also be keeping a close eye on this Elon Musk thing. And unfortunately, pretty soon we'll all have to be keeping a very close eye on this Trump thing. And how fucking crazy would it be if all three of those people I just mentioned would all be involved in, this time next year when we're talking about the presidential elections 2024. I'll leave that thought to you, gentlemen, and I'm going to get the hell out of here before I say anything that'll really get me in trouble. This is Ruh out. God bless everybody. May God save this republic, hopefully before it's too late.
All right, there he goes, everybody. Ruckus heading on over to what he does over there at the Joseph Arthur Technicolor Dreamcast. So shout out to TNTradio.live. It's been crazy over there doing the show, man. I've met so many interesting people over the span of that show. My goodness, it's been a wild ride. So if you haven't checked what Ruckus and myself and Pat Henningsen are doing over there, we're bringing in a lot of our friends and colleagues. Many people from the Boiler Room have joined me over there. I think Chopper, you're one of the only ones left that hasn't made it onto my show. We're gonna have to remedy that at some point. I know it's a conflict in timing, but one of these days, hopefully, you can complete the circle there. We had Odd Man Out on today, and we've had Corey Drayton on a number of times. Of course, Infidel Pharaoh made an appearance. Shout out to him. But yeah, Chopper, I am going to show you this Neuralink brain chimp thing here in a second. But yeah, what do you think about all this so far?
It's wild, dude. I don't know. This, like I said,
after retired Clown World, I guess, and we just
the psyop's running off script, dude.
I heard
the psyop is running off script.
I heard on TNT when Patrick was reporting that they shut down the CERN, the Hadron Collider early this year because it's expensive to pay the bill. Apparently, they just can't have that thing running at 10 bazillion gigawatts while everybody's wondering if they're going to freeze to death.
Right. I saw some BBC story where people in England somewhere are having to eat pet food because they can't afford to eat.
Here's my concern, man. I'm afraid that when they did that, we were doing Boiler Room and we were doing the GIMP bit, and they may have created some sort of particle or some sort of fucking vortex, and we projected that out, and enough people heard it, and it seeped into the new reality. Or maybe they killed us all and we're stuck in a computer model now. We've been uploaded, and the part where we all died in nuclear fire is deleted from our computer minds. And
So
We're
did
just
Gimp World come from the other dimension, or did
Yeah.
we fly over into Gimp World?
Yeah, we jumped the clown world shark into Gimp World here, and there we are, folks. I'm sorry to say, I was hoping there would be a better outcome to the midterm elections and the close of 2022. It really has been apex unbelievable clown year. I've uttered things from mainstream articles that I would have never uttered before because they just sound ludicrous and ridiculous and crass, and now they're just our reality, I guess, fellas.
Well, maybe on the bright side, if we get the Neuralink, we could be like choose your own adventure dimension.
Hey,
We make our metaverse however we want.
Yeah. What do you think, Wandering Wolf? You want to jump into the metaverse there, see if we can't create a better life?
No, I think I'll just stay here in the bad old biological reality that I was born into, mate.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna fight for the one that has, like, flowers you can smell and that kind of stuff. Puppies you can pet, that kind of stuff.
And real steak.
Good
Right? Whiskey. Yeah.
Did we learn nothing from the Matrix?
Mm-hmm.
Did we learn nothing? It is the primary metaphor that is overused in this swim lane. Did we learn nothing from the most pinnacle film? All right, let's see what happens when I play
not
this.
actually using a keyboard. He's moving the cursor with his mind.
At Elon Musk's much-awaited show-and-tell event for his brain implant company Neuralink, the world's richest person shared video of a monkey typing telepathically as he seeks to begin clinical trials for a wireless brain chip in human beings.
The monkeys actually enjoy doing the demos because they get the banana smoothie, and it's kind of a fun game.
The billionaire said he expects approval from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to conduct human trials in 6 months after the company missed earlier timelines set by him.
We've been working hard to be ready for our first human, and obviously we want to be extremely careful and certain that it will work well before putting a device in a human.
Musk has also set the bar high, saying the brain chip could help disabled patients to move and communicate again, and that it would also aim to restore vision to people who were born blind.
Yeah, even if they've never seen before, we're confident that they could see.
The Tesla CEO, who also runs rocket company SpaceX and social media platform Twitter, is known for lofty goals such as colonizing Mars. As for Neuralink, Musk said he wants to develop a chip that would allow the brain to control complex electronic devices and eventually allow people with paralysis to regain motor function.
I mean, as miraculous as it may sound, we're confident that it is possible to restore full body functionality to someone who has a severed spinal cord.
But current and former employees said Neuralink is running behind schedule, having repeatedly missed internal deadlines to gain FDA approval to start trials in people. It's also running behind competitors. Reuters reported in August that Musk approached rival brain chip firm Synchron, which received U.S. regulatory clearance for human trials in 2021, about a potential investment after he expressed frustration to Neuralink employees about their slow progress.
All right, well, there you go. That is a thing. That's a thing. That's another thing that Elon Musk does. If anybody out there hadn't seen it yet or heard of it, there it is. There's your Neuralink. Did you find that convincing, Chopper? Did you find the whole pitch there convincing? What's your hot take on the Neuralink pitch?
Fuck no. Oh my gosh. I hope it doesn't come. I don't think that's a good idea for anyone, honestly.
Well, the bar is pretty low. I mean, they passed the gene jabs. They didn't have to, they tested this bivalent shit on 8 mice and then passed it. So
and said it was good to go. So yeah. Well, he's according to Elon's tweet, it's all in the FDA's hands now. We're just waiting for some FDA approval.
And they're great. They're just doing a bang up job, right, Corey? The FDA has just been, who doesn't love the FDA anymore? Man, great job, guys. Great job.
Oh man, haven't they been tip top? You know, when I was looking at this video, there's a couple of things I was thinking. The first is, okay, what was left on the cutting room floor? So how many different takes were necessary to have that monkey type out what it was typing? And then also too, what about the involuntary aspect of all of this? Okay, so if you have this Neuralink installed into your mind, and you can control devices that you've paired with it at will, what about all of the things that are going on that are in your subconscious that you actually have no control over? What about subconscious thoughts and impulses? How does the Neuralink software, for lack of a better way to put it, distinguish between the two? And what is to be said about having a back door directly into the subconscious and into the autonomic human functions that are controlled by parts of the brain? It just isn't a very good idea. I mean, yeah, sure, they're selling it to you under the auspices of, oh, this will help people with disabilities. Quadriplegics can take advantage of this kind of technology. Okay, sure, yeah, I get that. That pulls at my heartstrings, but it's everything that comes along with it, right? It's Pandora's box. Once the lid is open, everything comes out.
Absolutely. And we've had all the other, like one of the big stories, we covered it last week, and it's been rolling around in my circles this week, is the approval for robotic assassin bombs, bomb laden, like they did to the alleged shooter in Dallas. They sent a drone up there, and they say they did. We didn't really get any proof or good footage of this, but say they sent a drone up in there, a little robot with a charge on it, and they took care of that guy. And San Francisco has just approved that. So it's like, it really does. We've been talking about RoboCop reality and corporate police and changes in society and smart cities and, brain chips and vaccines and all this stuff that has fringed on the edge of sci-fi for the entire existence of the show. Everybody that's been on it, we've all vibed in various different ways while talking about this technocracy and transhumanism topic. And it's unbelievable to me here that we're in our 8th year and we have seen so much of what used to sound really crazy become just part of the daily news cycle in just 8 years. I mean, it is staggering. It's absolutely staggering, and this is among it. This whole topic of where that singularity happens with computing, ubiquity, what happens when the control algorithms are fully embedded. We've basically had the analog slash digital version of it in our lives up to now, but now who knows what mRNA is? Who knows what that does? Who knows how that interacts with this? What if this is something that is, a precursor to that? You know what I mean? It's like we're talking biological computers here. We're talking cyborg people. We've now got experimental genetically modified people walking around creating these weird proteins and stuff. What happens? Is that like a computer virus that's been put at the operating system level early on before the actual CPU and the networking is attached? Because this is networked. This is networked, Corey. Everybody's seen Battlestar Galactica, right? You know the vulnerability of a network. You've seen Star Trek. You know the vulnerability of a Borg. You've seen Upload. You know the vulnerability of having a patch or an update or a new release if you're cybernetic. And you've seen RoboCop, and you've seen the way people can be abused once they're under the control of cybernetics. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a very good point. And you mentioned the word singularity, which is something that, of course, is all over this particular topic of cybernetics and let's just say networks and machines. And it brings to mind back in 2010. I was at a film festival for the premiere of a film that I'd shot, and one of the people at the festival was none other than Ray Kurzweil himself, because he was releasing a documentary that year. So all the filmmakers had a dinner with him, and he was talking about the singularity. And it became really apparent to me that one thing that I think he didn't even consider was that the singularity is not necessarily just this, let's say, point where technology becomes so deeply embedded and ubiquitous that a self-awareness evolves from it. The singularity is the point where reliance on that kind of technology becomes normalized. And I would argue that we've already reached that point. We've already reached the singularity. And as I was thinking earlier today about just police robots and the way that this sort of death by drone technology has become normalized, certainly since, let's say, 2013, when it became something that was, let's just say, enabled a reach of certain policies that otherwise would have been put to a debate in earlier eras. We're now kind of at this point where it's like that scene in Blade Runner 2049, say what you will about the sequel, where the main antagonist is having her nails done and she's drone striking insurgents in San Diego. And okay, sure, she's a replicant and she has no emotions and she has absolutely no attachment to what's going on. It's like she's making a phone call. But I think in a way it was predictive because it's establishing this normalization and this attitude we have towards these technologies now. There's no emotional attachment, there's no ethical attachment, there's no moral component whatsoever. It's just become a natural function of being a human being in this new era of the 21st century that we're in. So I would argue that we've already hit the singularity. We're there. It's happened because of the normalization.
Yeah. You know, I rewatched, because we've been talking about this and thinking about this a bit. Everybody references Black Mirror so much, and I've seen them all. We talked about them like a long time ago. We were talking about them back in 2016 and onward as they came out. But I went back and I watched the one from season 4 called Metalhead. Best title of all the episodes, probably, but one of the darkest, dankest, most just disturbing episodes of all of them, because there basically is no plot other than the last remnants of humanity being wiped out by drones that had taken over with artificial intelligence for whatever reason. They don't even need to show you whatever happened. They just show you what it's like to try and survive in a world where that has gone bad. And I guess that's kind of where I was headed earlier when we were talking about Graham Hancock and maybe pieces of hidden history that have been hidden on purpose. Like Kelly said up there in the chat, reckon the Vatican has all that stuff that survived the Library of Alexandria. Yeah, I think you're probably right. A lot of people have said that. They make a good argument for it. And of course, you wouldn't want the plebs to know that is the, I don't know if it is, but it seems like it's possible that could be the inevitable collapse when AI is fully realized, or when AI is weaponized on its own accord, or by some psycho's accord against organics. And what we're talking about here is the actual journey between now and that point, because that's the inevitable thing. And that was the whole point, if I'm not mistaken. One of the primary themes of Battlestar Galactica was all this has happened before and all of this will happen again. Right. And even Elon Musk himself has said that we should be very wary of AI. And I believe he used words like it could cause an apocalypse. But isn't that ironic that he's the guy that wants to use a robot to slice into your head with a sewing machine attachment, to weave a bunch of electrodes in there and a Wi-Fi dongle and attach you to your phone, and then to Starlink? What the actual fuck, guys? I'm cool with a lot of the Twitter stuff going on, but that is like way too fucking far for me. Like, what are you talking about? People would laugh at us for having this conversation just a couple of years ago, but we've got all the proof here. This is all, the FDA is involved with Neuralink. They're talking about doing this in 6 months. They've been talking about this for years. We've been talking about this, but no, it's all about his flamethrower. It's all about his rockets. It's all about his EVs and his cars and his tweets and his purchase of Twitter, and now the free speech advocate. You know what I mean? It's like some of these characters I like a lot of the things they have to say, but it's like it's getting really mushy out there in the billionaire slash, hero world. Like what we have been saying for years almost appears as though it could be manifesting in these like story arcs that we're talking about here for people we're seeing right now, like Ye and like Elon. I mean, these are like mythological in scale life stories portrayed in front of us, and we don't really know what's going on. We've seen the way people can be manipulated. We've seen the way deep fakes are done. We've seen all this stuff. I'm not saying this is all deep fake stuff. I'm just saying I think we may be to the point where we can't believe our eyes. You know what I mean? It's like I think Kanye's being authentic. I just don't know why and how he got to be projecting this as his authentic self and where he thinks it's going versus where it may be headed by outside forces.
Chopper, I'm going to give you a chance to respond to that. I just wanted to put this out here real quick. It was 2 months ago that Pat Henningsen and I did an episode on TNT where we were talking about superhero films and riffing back and forth about why we're being encouraged to identify with the superheroes and these big monolithic personalities, these battles between good and evil that have kind of formed modern mythology. And he and I both seem to arrive at the same place, which is that they are, interestingly enough, positioned as positioned the same way that billionaires are, as people who are saviors, people who have a singular virtue that they're bringing to save humanity from itself. And so there is a very sort of predictive narrative around how we're meant to regard someone like an Elon Musk, who has near godlike powers and resources at his disposal to rescue us from our own base, vulgar state of biological imperfection. So there's definitely something to be said for those two narratives walking hand in hand. And of course, here we are in an era where cult of personality is everything. And so when people attach to these figureheads that are cults of personality, like an Elon Musk, like a Kanye, like a Trump, like whomever, you're very it's very easy to get the masses to associate virtue with those people and to adopt those same virtues themselves. That's how they're able to steer the cyborg, being the social mechanism, not just the creature from cinema, but the actual body politic, which is the cyborg, as argued in, I think it was 1981, Donna Hathaway wrote about this, the Cyborg's Manifesto. The cyborg is a population of people that can be driven to do a particular thing in a particular way. And that seems to be deployed and implemented with all of this that we're discussing here tonight.
Yeah. It's really really weird to see it all go down, to see it all just manifest, and then be normalized. It's like that's that clip we just played right there. You can find all that. Like, there's a whole laundry list of clips, folks. If you're new to this and you want to check it out, new and old. But they've got his whole reveal speech there. Just came out 21 hours ago. It's 10 minutes long. It's on the Neuralink YouTube page and on CNET, and all the major outlets are all talking about it. They're showing it. There's a older year old discussion with Joe Rogan about it. There's a lot of information about this out there, and yeah, people are going to wire themselves up. That's just what they're telling us here. That's what they're telling us. This is what one of the things. How does I don't know, Corey? It goes back to, like you were saying. Like, I was thinking about that episode you guys did, and that goes right along with a lot of the stuff that's been said here in the boiler room over the years. And it really does just seem like maybe the new direction here is, like, you guys are, we keep circling around this tonight, or coming back to it. It's going to be all about a person now, a someone with this mythologic, appearance, and these are all people that have access to the kind of like public relations tools that provide data that's almost unimaginable to people like us. You know what I mean? Like Cambridge Analytica, for example, that was used to great effect, and they've got all the big data on everybody. It's probably, if you got Yay money or Trump money or something like that, you have access to those kind of consultants, those kind of PR people that, have those kind of budgets to work with. You don't know what's available to people like that. They're in a completely different class than anything that even registers as something that makes sense to, plebs like us that eat sandwiches and chickens and steaks and stuff.
Ruckus brought up earlier, how come we're always talking about these billionaires? Then they're the ones shaping things and what's the narratives and this so forth, right? And it's like, well, that's because they got the power and the cash flow to do it. Like, nobody gives a fuck what I tweet. You know what I mean? That's irrelevant. It's not. But when Elon or Ye or
fuck about your tweets, man.
well, that's cool. But
second note.
I'm just saying though, like it's not like that's not me trying to look for sympathy about it. It's just the reality is that it doesn't. Some pleb like me tweeting it ain't shit. But when Kanye and Elon are dropping tweets, well, that can create, change narratives. It's right. Amazing to watch, dude. All this shit in my lifetime, man. I just thought Pong was cool back in the day. Like, wow, that's pretty neat.
We were so easily satisfied, man. Board game, yeah. 8-bit Nintendo or less.
I like board game. I played a bunch of board games. That was good fun, man.
Yeah, we had good BMX bikes and skateboards. Nobody was obese.
Yeah, we were going out, falling down, getting scratches.
Yep.
Out there taking risks, right?
Yeah.
Because that's another aspect of all this, the risk aversion that you get when you jack into the machine and all of your experiences are virtual. You're not out there being tested by reality. You're not getting the cuts and scrapes of bailing on your skateboard, right? So what kind of resilience will future generations who adopt this technology not develop?
That's a great question. It's definitely going to be there's already a deficit in that. It's turned into a pretty low T society, if you get my drift.
I bet you there's a good chunk of people out there, if you told them you could take this thing and put it in your brain or whatever, and then life will be bitching for you. We can help you make all your decisions. Like, because that's why people already look to like the government and politicians way too much for solutions. And it's like, I don't understand why, because these fuckers are creating most of the problems in the first place. And you want to look to them for solutions is ludicrous in my mind. But it's what a segment of the population seems to latch onto that. Like, because if the government's going to take care of them or whatever, then they don't have to have no responsibilities for themselves to take care of themselves and figure shit out on their own or whatever. And I see a lot of people probably thinking this is a great idea.
Right. Well, they're really imploding the idea of effective political parties right now. The dual, power politics thing is looking pretty grim to people,
Right. I would argue that all of the elections have been monkeyed with and fussed with and fixed for eons, probably since the first elections, and probably not even in this country, But I think they just are making it more blatant to upset people on purpose.
Yeah.
Dude, I was talking to my buddy in California the other day, and I was saying how I never saw a Biden sticker anywhere ever. And he said, I've never seen one here either, dude. It's like, but even in 2016, you would have saw a lot of Hillary stickers, but somehow that guy won. And I think they purposely upset people, and then they run it, and look what they did with it. They got a bunch of people in there and had Fed boys run them through the Capitol, and then tell us that was the worst assault on democracy in the history of the world or whatever. And it's like, I remember watching that shit live when it was happening, just on the interweb feeds of all these different people streaming it and just look. Wow, this is really strange. Like there, and it was just they were literally just running in. Mostly, I just saw people walking around between the lines taking selfies. I mean, I guess there was probably some other vandalism and such, but
Yeah,
it didn't look like any kind of insurrection or coup or like government topple or overthrow. It didn't look nothing like that of anything else ever happened to me before. You know what I mean? Or I just mixed up all my words, but you get my drift.
Yeah.
Well, most of the insurrections I've seen look a lot more than Portland. Well, they look a lot more like Portland on fire in 2020, like actual, Molotov cocktails and things of that nature. That's what an insurrection looks like, in terms of my reckoning. So it's the kind of theater that can be produced with this kind of mass communications technology. It's something that's been warned about for decades. And I wish I could say that I was astonished that more people aren't aware, not only that this is happening, but that it's even possible that this happens. You have such an externalization of locus of control to the god of the machine, the god of the media, because it's easy. People don't want to do any of the real heavy lifting in their own lives.
And it's going to be so much easier when they have this, this godlike character, this superhero like character, one on each side. You got your super villain and you got your superhero, depending on which identity politic you're forced to attach yourself to. And it's all about that person, that cult of personality, and they've got this crazy life story arc, like a Kanye, like an Elon, and we've seen that style built up. That's actually been a style that's been built up since the Steve Jobs days. That's something that, to my estimation, Steve Jobs kind of brought us, and then Ted kind of took off, and it had that same vibe as like the Apple presentations, and then that grew this sort of popularization in the Silicon Valley nerd culture, if you will, among the pioneers, where like, oh, this is a way to brand and market our innovations, so that gets built in there too. So that kind of instilled in everybody like, oh, wow, every year, see what kind of new tech they come out with. Like, people are still glued to those things. There's a very interesting, interplay with the sociology and the psychology of building personalities up like that. And then they all hit a certain place like Bill Gates did, where it's just like, wait a minute, people start looking around. Same with Zuckerberg, and they're like, hold on, wait a minute, your money came from InQtel, and wait, you stole that software from someone else, and there are all these crazy lawsuits, and then you know what I mean? But those guys, they all hit a certain point where it was all mushy. But now it's like we have these crazy characters like Elon, where it's just and Kanye, where it's like, I can't figure these guys out. I honestly can't figure these guys out. It's like Beige Lit is saying in the chat there. It's like this new level of strategy of tension and full spectrum dominance that we've not seen before. And they're able to muddy the bio on some of these people so much that it's really difficult to spot the psyop there or whatever, the NLP. It all becomes very difficult to suss out. And then it also nudges the Overton window and the outrage window, insert all modern problem windows right here, and they all get nudged out to more radicalized extreme levels. It's hats off one worlders and globalists. I mean, it's really an amazing time to be alive and watch these things play out and try to make sense of them and stay sane in the process. I mean, holy shit. How lucky are we, Chopper, to be alive in a time where we get to see all of this crazy crap go down? I mean, everybody says that about their time in history, but right now, with the way that technology is going and the way that sci-fi is becoming reality and conspiracy theory is becoming conspiracy fact, and acceptance of some of these ideas that many people have been shunned for the last decade or 3 or 4 or 5. People have been warning us about this shit for a long time. Wow. wow, we get to be alive during this crazy shit. That's, all things aside, that's kind of cool.
It is kind of cool. I get to kick it with you guys and talk about it too. Right on.
Damn right.
But yeah, it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. I really am at a loss this week with all the just every day. So the notch gets turned up another one. I think they can't outdo themselves with the scripts, and it gets better and better.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I don't.
Novel mind viruses, that's for sure. Novel media viruses, maybe novel viruses. I don't know.
I think you're onto something with the Hadron Collider shutting down, dude.
We may have fucked it up for everybody. I'm sorry. Sorry we were delivering weird news about GIMPs when they turned the Hadron Collider off and created this new track that we're now on into GIMP world because clowns are just too passe now. I guess the circus music stops and you start hearing whip cracks and dog leashes, and the pup people will start, walking into the room, and the discussion will degrade from there. But hey, Corey, I had a couple more stories I was going to throw out there tonight, but I think we've pretty much, I think we've worked our way into the final phase here. Anything else you want to throw out there tonight? Thanks everybody for being here in the chat rooms and hanging out with us live. AlternateCurrentRadio.com. That's our website. TNTRadio.live. That's where you can catch some of our other work. But yeah, Corey, what else is there? What must we cover this week? I mean, I've got a laundry list, a litany. So many things have happened, but I don't want to overdo it tonight. So I'll leave it to you to take us home here, man.
Yeah, man, this has been a really great episode. We've really run the gamut of so many different things, and I've been away for 2 months, so kind of coming back in, dipping my toes back into the no longer tepid waters of cultural chaos. Now, it's been a good way to ease back into how things are going and the burning embers of civilization. I think the only other thing that it would add, and it doesn't necessarily have to open up a new thread, is I really appreciate what you were just saying just now about TED, because having worked on it twice in 2017 and 2018 and seeing just how much management and curation is going into all of those talks, and how the one time there was actually a debate, it was actually a live interview that was not planned, that was sprung on the audience when here in Oregon they brought out a then gubernatorial candidate onto the stage to engage in a Q&A with the curator of the event. People were screaming at her from the rafters, from the nosebleed section. And so when I think of something like TED as an institution, it really speaks to the degree to which so many of us have been primed to just receive ideas without any sort of live critique, without any analysis, without any criticism, without an actual dialectic of ideas playing out in real time. We think that we have that, but we don't. And when people are presented with an opportunity to have that, to engage in it, they react viciously. So it I don't know, it doesn't bode well. In a way, it's kind of exciting. It's exciting to at least be part of a time when ideas have currency. But man, I don't know. I always thought there would be more of a forum. I kind of missed the forum days, of the mid to late 90s, when you could actually have back and forth, so no one had to be executed in the court of public opinion. For having their own point of view. I guess that's the only thing I wanted to add, mate.
Yeah, and I was listening to Patrick Henningson's show on TNT earlier today, and he was talking about, we've got a number of friends, and listeners who have come to this country from former communist countries and socialist countries, Romania, Russia, a few places, not Russia, but USSR, that long ago. And he was saying, I'll paraphrase, I can't quote, but I'll paraphrase. He was saying that he was, having this talk with one of his friends like that. He said, well, what do you see in current events that remind you of what you saw in that country before you left? And one of the factors in that person's answer was just the loss of truth, the loss of the ability for people to say what they think. You know, once that's gone, everybody goes along to get along in this, you know, to fit into the narratives that the system tells them, you know, the dialectics and narratives that are the official ones. And, you know, you do that and maybe you'll be okay. But eventually everyone is walking around in a state, right? Like a mental state where they're behaving in an inverted way because they're all being forced to live a lie to protect themselves from what's inevitably coming for those that want to remain free. And I think that's scary that someone who came here from a place like that, under a rule like that, that saw that that behavior, that phenomena, um, as a fundamental piece of, you know, what they see here now. That's freaky.
Yeah, I've had lots of discussions with people like that throughout my life too, and just moving around to so many different countries when I was growing up, I would often encounter Soviet expats, and they would tell me all kinds of things about what they escaped and left, and it's interesting to see how so many of the things they experienced there had become normalized here in the West. I was having a conversation with a friend and colleague just the other day who's he was born in Romania, but he moved to the UK and he'd lived there for 12 years. And he recently pulled up stakes and moved back to Romania. And he said he's much happier back in Romania. He was getting depressed in the UK. He was becoming agoraphobic. He was staying in his house. He didn't want to go out. He didn't want to engage with anyone. He didn't have any close friendships. It was getting to a set point. And ever since he went home to Romania, he feels like a human being again. That's saying a lot. That's saying an awful lot about the direction that we have taken, certainly in the Anglosphere, over the last 20 years.
Yeah, it really is. You know, a lot of people have left with mixed results, but many of them very happy to not be like in the thick of this anymore. Yeah, again, shout out to Bays Lit. The political events, riots, protests associated with the World Cup are notable as a tangent to this. Also, that's a good point because we're seeing protests and riots that the mass media is not covering. They don't want us to know what's going on in the Netherlands right now. They're not talking about 3,000 farms having their farms confiscated or forcibly purchased by the government to reduce nitrogen for the planet, which many of these farmers have been protesting about in mass numbers for a long, long time now. That piece of authoritarian tyranny that is going to affect the global food supply has happened in the name of the green agenda, which is, of course, a piece of the Great Reset. So this stuff is now happening. People are losing their land. People are losing their property. It's not conspiracy anymore. It's just open headlines. They do it in our faces. In France, they're protesting. They want out of NATO. They don't want to experience a wartime austerity over the winter so that Ukraine can have plenty of bombs, you know, endless bombs. So that's being obfuscated also. So, you know, we've got the Gimp and Clown show going out there. These kind of things are going on in the background, and they will continue to go on.
Yeah, I think the U.S. they made it out of the group stage and they're playing Netherlands in the first round of the knockout stage, and so the Bays brings up a good point here, and all these different teams are trying to protest all these different things, and yet it's being held in a country that a lot of people would argue never should have got the gig to have the World Cup, and they got all these crazy rules. And so I would be impressed if the U.S. team was protesting the Dutch government for like kicking all the farmers out or whatever. That'd be pretty. Somehow I don't think we're gonna see that though.
No,
but there's all these other side stories running where the Iranian players were threatened because they didn't want to sing their national anthem to protest their government, but then they basically got threatened by their government that if they didn't play properly, they would, you know, torture or beat their family or something. You know, it just there's a lot of crazy sub stories going through the World Cup right now.
Oh yeah,
it's all
totally
very interesting.
Yeah, and it's a small like cultural microcosmic display of how some of these multicultural identities actually do not mix, and like, you know what I mean? There's something to be said for some of these something to be said for borders. I'll put it that way, and the choice to be able to go to different places on the planet to experience different cultures rather than forcing them all into the same cities, you know, to just like save the planet. I guess that's the excuse we're supposed to go with, to save the planet. We're going to take everybody, remove the borders, you know, browbeat people into thinking that reproducing is a bad thing, then flood the countries, you know, the most developed countries, people from the other countries, just kind of, you know, offshore all of the production, give the tech industry to I don't know, this weird twisted Marvel superhero slash sci-fi hero luminary. I don't even know where we're going with this, but Tony Starks of the world.
Comic book reality they give us.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it is that. I have. I think we talked about this before, but Lazarus by Greg Rucka. You know, if anyone, whether you're into comic books or not, that's one worth reading because it plays with all these ideas. When you have families who run big corporations who are basically presiding over fiefdoms all over the world, and they have a serf population, which is, you know, people who are useful to them and useful to the interest of the company. And then they have the waste population, which is all the plebs that they're just responsible for maintaining. You know, that world is looking more and more like reality all the time.
Yeah, yeah. Altered Carbon too. That would be another one you could go to look towards the grim or glorious futures of Neuralink and cybernetics, and mixed with cloning and genetic modification. That's actually kind of a difficult watch. I don't really like recommend it because I love it, but the concepts in it, there's a book. You might be better off reading the book than watching the TV show, but the concepts in it are that, you know, BioShock, Deus Ex, to the next level with all of the overlays of biotechnology and high-end technology and cloning technology, all that stuff, genome, all that shit is wrapped up in Altered Carbon. It's really kind of haunting when you put all these things together and you see them peeking out in your reality. You know, you see San Francisco picking up these chintzy robots that they can attach explosives to, apparently, to go get rid of bad guys. Okay, great idea. Great idea. Why are we doing that when the DAs don't process anybody? They don't prosecute anybody anymore. Why the hell we need robots to go blow people up if the DAs are not prosecuting murderers and rapists and sex offenders and predators and shit? What's the
right? The problem I have with this is why are we they're removing the human element of taking a human's life. It's like, why? It's, dude, it's really fucked up. And then
they'll argue with you on that and say that, oh, a high-end officer has to be involved in the decision. Yeah, okay, that's the protocol now, but the rules of engagement change over time. And once all these places have these, and then they start updating them, and they get the Omnicore version, you know, HAL 9000 fucking T.
Well, it'll be hooked into their Red Alert, Code Red system, right. AI, criminal, pre-crime, you fucking name it, and that's where it's gonna go.
Yeah. That's too much room for abuse in the singularity if society lets supposed luminaries and billionaires lead us the way there. That's not gonna work out for humanity, I don't think. You guys.
No, and the other thing I wanted to point out about the billionaires that I forgot a long time ago is that I don't remember the last time any of these billionaires really were doing anything good for sandwich eaters.
I mean, you don't like it that Elon Musk and every other major auto company here, Dodge, I'm looking at you, Dodge, you're really going to sunset your Hellcats and all that stuff for electric vehicles. They do this for you, Chopper. They go to countries where it's not illegal to employ 7-year-olds to mine cobalt and lithium, which are toxic and cause huge environmental damage. And then they make electric cars, dude. And those little slave children, they're working with an actual element that has a limited supply, whereas the dinosaur juice,
Dude,
abiotic hydrocarbons. What? You can't say that. Yeah, you can.
dude, they already Neuralinked us because you just segued to my next slam I wanted on Elon before the show was over.
Well.
You did, dude. And from what I understand is Tesla now as a company is very profitable. Like their margins are blowing everyone else away. But guess what? It's not even making the money off the cars. He's making the money off selling his carbon credits to other companies.
Yep. And they're just getting into that scam. That scam's filled right into the CBDC scam. It's
I
it's
feel
all
like that scam's gonna be picking our pockets real soon.
damn tootin',
On
buddy.
a personal level, you know what I mean?
You're damn tootin'. You see, like we've got two crypto exchanges at least now filed Chapter 11. One of them in amazing glory of conspiracy and counter conspiracy, unbelievable in front of our faces. And now we've got 3 guys that have died. Crypto, big crypto guys. I mean, this is unprecedented, man. This says something to me. This says, wow, what a coincidence. Or, wow, somebody had a lot of reasons to make sure these people don't end up to be the next, Sam. Oh, my God. Well, so that's all going on. That's all going on, you guys. I don't even know what to say. The world is changing real fast, real rapid. The technology is amazing. The financial shenanigans are awe-inspiring and scary, and supply chain and the pandemic industrial complex and the long-term effects of the mRNA. And then there's that mass media cartel, what they're doing to us, what these amazing / weird billionaire and tech mogul celebrity character arcs are. I do not understand, but makes me feel a little bit saner to be here with you guys and the rest of our team who may not be here tonight. Shout out to all of them. See you next week, hopefully. But yeah, and of course the audience as well. We appreciate you joining us here in the boiler room. Over to Wandering Wolf for any saved rounds. Final thoughts.
All I have to say is thanks for the dose of sanity. It's good to be back in the boiler room with you guys. Been a great episode, and looking forward to the next one.
Absolutely, man. Great to have you. Thanks for coming back. It was great to have you tonight, and we will look forward to the next one as well. Chopper, over to you, man. Saved rounds, final thoughts. Here's your chance.
Yeah, dude. It was Corey. Good to talk to you, hang out with you again. Hesher, as always, a pleasure. Ruckus, good time. Spore, we miss you. Come back soon. And everyone have a good night. I'll catch you guys all on the flip.
All right, there they go, everybody. That's your boiler room for tonight. We're out of here. Appreciate you hanging out once again. AlternateCurrentRadio.com. That's where you find us on the web. Peace out. We'll see you next time.
That's it. Go ahead and run. Run home and cry to mama.
Nice one. That was fun, gang. Thanks for being here tonight.